Welcome to ProgrammingKT. I am explaining about the concept is HTTP2 client support in Java. So from 1.9 onwards, we can make network call by using HTTP2 protocol version. So HTTP1 was introduced in HTTP protocol was introduced in one I can say one HTTP1 version was introduced in 1997. So the problem with HTTP1 is we can't make asynchronous call. So in 1.9 onwards, by using HTTP2, we can make asynchronous calls. And moreover, that header compression, some extra features are introduced. So before learning HTTP2, we need to aware of three classes. That those are I will explain first. First one is HTTP client. So second one is by using HTTP client object only we can make the request. So second one is HTTP request. First we need to create client object, then we can create request object, then we can make network call. Finally we can handle the response by using that network call. So second one is HTTP request. Third one is HTTP response. So these are the three classes we need to know before writing example. So client is used to, by using client only, we can make HTTP request. So we can construct that REST endpoint URL or it may be network URL. Then we can call it by using client object. Once we make the network call, it will provide some response. So by using that HTTP response, we can handle it. Now let me try to create HTTP client object first. HTTP client. So from java.net package, HTTP client dot new client. So HTTP new client. So this is the factory method they introduced, new HTTP client. So this feature was preview feature in 1.9 but stable in 11. So if we can observe the class HTTP client since JDK 11. So, but the feature was preview feature in 1.9. So once I created in step 1, I am trying to create, I can say step 1. In step 1, we can create that client object. In step 2, I am trying to create HTTP request. HTTP request from java.net package dot new builder. Then we need to construct the URI. So URI dot create, we need to pass the URL of that corresponding. Create method is expecting from URI is string type, right? We can pass URL of that, our endpoint URL. Next, we need to specify the, a request method type, either it may be post or get. So here I am trying to make get. So depending on our requirement, we can make it either delete, get, when post, put. So I am trying to call get method. Then finally we need to call build method. So I am trying to assign to a HTTP request. So once the request is ready, we can make a HTTP request call. So by using HTTP client. So new HTTP client dot send. So from I already said, right, in HTTP 1, so we can make only synchronous call, but 1.9 onwards by using HTTP 2 we can make asynchronous call. Moreover that if you have doubt when HTTP 2 version was introduced, so HTTP version 2 was introduced in 2015. So we can make both synchronous and asynchronous. Anyway, when I'm explaining about completable feature, I will explain send async. So anyway, here also I'm trying to use as synchronous request only. Next, we need to handle HTTP response builders. So we need to specify them. HTTP response dot body builders. So of type we need to, I am trying to specify here string. I'm trying to. So this code is, I mean, there is a chance of getting exception, right? If the request is not, I mean, handled properly. So that case, we can surround with the try catch black, or else we can make a throws keyword on corresponding method. So here I'm trying to apply, try with, I mean, or else I can remove it. I can add the throws keyword. So it will throw interrupted exception or IO exception. So now let me try to assign to a HTTP response. So here I can rename it response. So by using this response, I will print that result. I can provide some mess out here. Once I got the response, I'm trying to print the result. So response dot. So what is the status code of that corresponding response? First, I'm trying to print. So once I have response object, I can access everything. So here I'm trying to print only two body and status code. Now let me try to run. So it is taking some time here. I don't know. Anyway, I declared this URL already in above. So the URL must be any one of the endpoint URL. So either it may be your own URL or else some random public API, right? So here I'm trying to create some public API URL above. So with that only I'm trying to get, I mean, here I already get response, right? So status code is 200 and this is the data, some random user data. So here you need to pass URL here. This URL string variable I already declared above main method, like URL it may be https. I mean I'm trying to write URL format. So your domain name slash request path, then any path parameters are there, you can pass like this. So this URL I can say string. So URL, so like this, once you declared, so that URL you need to pass here of create method. Once you make it, if the URL is proper, then you can get this result. Like so, I'm trying to print the status code is 200. Then what is the response? I mean, once I make the request, right, it is providing some response data with inside that body. That body is the result. So here some random user data. So this is the data about that user. So by using here, if you can observe here, by using three lines only, step one I am trying to create the http client. In step two I am trying to create the request URL. In step 3 I am trying to make the request client object request http request with URL. Step 3, making the request. So in just step 3 itself, with the 3 steps, we are getting some, I mean, data, right? So when I'm learning about this concept, I feel very, I mean, exciting. So make a comment in comment section how you are feeling. By using three lines, we are making the request and we are getting the response in core Java itself. This is not a web application or in even not a servlet application. By using HTTP2 support, we are making network call with that some rest endpoint. So with that only, I am trying to get the response. So I am trying to print it. So if you like the content, hit on like button and subscribe Programming Kitty. Thanks for watching.